Hello again, my fellow YouTubers, and of course, a special salutations to you, Mr. Coonkiller 92. This is now my second video in the apparently ongoing video debate series between myself and Coonkiller 92. I made the initial video at the end of which I asked Coonkiller several questions. He made a response in which he answered them, and in that same video, he also asked me several questions. I am not going to address his responses to my questions in this video, nor am I going to respond to any of his questions save for one. One of his questions to me was if I had ever questioned my faith. Now, I am an atheist, and I have always been one, but as Coonkiller claims, atheism is a religion that demands faith. He even goes so far as to say that he will no longer carry on this discourse with me unless I am to concede this point. Well, Coonkiller, I'm not going to do that. However, hopefully we will be able to continue our discussion, granted that I justify that. This is what I plan to do in this video. Now, let me first say that Coonkiller is not the only person I have heard this claim from. In fact, it seems almost commonplace among the YouTube Christian apologist community. I have always found it to be an interesting line of argumentation for a Christian to make because, true or not, it is at its very core a tu quoque argument. The Christian wants to paint atheism as just another religion that requires just as much faith as their position, and in fact many resort to the pithy, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. The funny thing about this form of argument when it's coming from a Christian is that there is intrinsic to the argument the assumption that there is something categorically bad about religion. It is only an argument against atheism to say that it is a religion so long as you assume that religion is at its core wrong somehow. Now, this is not necessarily a presumption that I would jump up to object to, but it seems that a Christian would. They have effectively shot themselves in the intellectual foot when they have made this kind of argument, and it will not stand to benefit them for very long because all one needs to do to determine that atheism is not a religion is to look at what the word atheism means. An atheist is quite simply put someone who does not believe in God. What an atheist is not is someone who claims to know there is no God. Now, this is not to say that there are not atheists who don't claim to know that there is no God, but they are a subset within atheism called Gnostic atheists. The word Gnostic comes from the Greek word for knowledge. It's the opposite of agnostic. Most atheists you come across, however, will not claim 100% certainty in their atheism. It is for the most a tentative position, a null hypothesis to be rejected upon the arrival of new evidence. A faith is described as a complete trust or confidence in something. This definition does not allow for any atheists of the agnostic stripe, and as for Gnostic atheists, they generally have a different definition of the word knowledge that does not necessitate 100% certainty, but simply justifiable certainty based on evidence. Now that it has been established that the atheist position is not one based on faith, and therefore cannot reasonably be considered religious, I can look back at your original question and rephrase it so as to better convey it. Your question was, have I ever questioned my atheist faith? I suppose this question could be reworked to be read, have I ever almost believed in God? And the answer to that question is yes. Although I have never come close to seeing the Abrahamic God of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam to be a viable idea, I have at several points in my life, all of them years past now, come very close to accepting the idea of a deistic creator God, though my reason was the infinite regress, and as soon as I realized that this idea failed to solve the problem, and I started questioning whether the infinite regress was even a problem in the first place, I came close, but I never truly accepted the idea. That's all I have to say on that topic. I plan on making a response to the rest of your video within the next several days or maybe a week. However, feel free to make a response to this one whenever you want. Oh, and by the way, in case there are any pantheists watching, I believe in your God. I just don't call it God.